Good morning and happy Monday, KMA Tribe. Hey, listen, what I am actually going to talk to you about today, I also wrote about this morning, sending it out as an email, so you may have already seen some of it. It's on the subject, Why So Stoic? And it's about, basically 8 lessons in self discipline that I like so much that I shared them this morning and had some additional comments. I'm going to talk even more on it here today. But before I do that, I'm going to make a little small talk. And so maybe that allows some more people to join on live with us. But maybe it's just because I feel like talking about the things and hopefully there'll be some funny in it, even though it's totally not related to the actual subject. But first of all, I hope you had a great weekend and a really good, rest and recover and refresh and all the things. Like I got to do some great writing yesterday, in addition, of course, to the football and time with my wife and all the great stuff. And then this morning we had some really great coffee time, visualizing and planning the day and the week, and quite frankly, the rest of our life. But then on the way in, I just got to tell you, I rode the Harley in, and it was 62 degrees. It was fresh and felt great, and it was just a great way to start the day. But I also got to give this public service announcement. The only distraction to the joy of riding in were the few knuckleheads that were on their phones while driving and therefore trying to kill me. And so that's my public service announcement. It was still a great ride in, and that is another little funny aside. I thought that my first meeting was at 10:30. For some reason, my mind clicked back an hour, and so I was writing in, and Barbara was coming too. We had something we had to do on the way in, and I was like, oh, we don't have time to do that because I'm going to be late for this meeting. So I stopped and called her. That I got up here and I was waiting here because I didn't have a key either. It was a comedy of errors. It was great, and it turns out the meeting wasn't until 11:30. So here we are, got our stuff done and still here in plenty of time. Anyways, hello to you, listeners, and everybody that's going to get to see this in the future. And as promised, what I want to talk about today is why so stoic, but specifically it was actually from an article that I read, 8 lessons from 365 days with self-discipline. And it's on Stoic philosophy, and I loved the article so much. And it comes from the book by the same title, 365 Days with Self-Discipline. It's a book on Stoicism, and the lessons are so good that I wanted to share them. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the lesson, and I'm going to put some of my own personal interpretations and additions to the lesson in a way that is hopefully helpful to you, my tribe. So for example, let me just jump in, because number one is self-discipline is hard. And listen, that's true, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it. We know that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. We even sometimes know what the disciplines are that we should do to get the things that we say that we want. Yet, why do so many not do it, right? And of course, it's a lack of self-discipline. And when I talk about a lack of self-discipline, I'm talking about specifically where we know what it is that we should do, but we do something else, right? And you can think of all kinds of examples, right? Whether it's in fitness or diet or business or any other thing, you can think about where I know that this is the way to get the thing that I say that I want, but I do something different, right? So this is the first step, is that self-discipline is true, necessary, and hard. But this is the part I wanted to add, is that while self-discipline is hard, it can be easier if we do certain things. And I want to just mention maybe 2, 3, a handful of them. The first two, because I mentioned them in the email I sent out, right, in the blog I created this morning, which is number one, if you have the right mentors or coaches and or accountability partners, somebody to help hold you accountable, self-discipline can be easier. The next is, being in the right tribe. Being in a positive and productive tribe of like-minded people that are also moving towards their goals is extremely, extremely helpful. And then, another way that I believe that self-discipline can become easy is when it becomes more automatic. Consider, The Slight Edge or The Compound Effect, or most recently Atomic Habits by James Clear. All of them talk about the importance of habits, of developing small habits that move us in the direction of our wildly important goals and dreams, right? And this is absolutely true. I will say that the superpower of self-discipline is the thing that lets us do the thing long enough for it to become a habit, okay? The second thing that the author said is that one decision can set a wrong precedent, and that is so true, right? So true in so many ways, right? From the most obvious, like the poor soul who partakes of a drug and becomes addicted to it. I mean, that's of course the most obvious extreme of one decision ruining the rest of our lives, or driving drunk, or like there's lots like that where just some moment of folly can negatively affect the rest of our lives. But then there's so many that are so much less obvious but just as insidious. For example, a habit of eating at McDonald's, right? Like it can start as a small thing, but then can become something big. And listen, I'm not gonna give a lot more examples because you got your own, but it is true, right? That one decision can set a wrong precedent, especially when that decision then it becomes the habit, it becomes the compound effect instead of the self-discipline that we talked about in number 1. Number 3, he says, is you have the ability to be disciplined. I'm going to read exactly what the author said here because I liked it. He said, humans have the capacity to act against their urges in exchange for a better future. Unfortunately, many people live by the principle of if it feels good, do it, and if it doesn't, don't do it. Caving into your temptations whenever you feel them emerge is like relinquishing your humanity in a way. As an intelligent human being, you have an ability, and I dare say an obligation, to make decisions that are based on rational thinking, not on your instincts alone. That is so good, so true, so relevant, and so poignant, because we're living in a crazy society today that is teaching and preaching and doing just the opposite in so many cases. But again, listen, that's not our problem. Life's 10% what happens, 90% how we react to it. Circle of concern, circle of control, where those two intersect is where we invest our time and energy. So we know, fellow winners, that what other people are doing, it doesn't matter. What matters is what we do. And I would challenge my tribe to make sure that you always apply this principle, that we are thinking rational beings, that we've been gifted amongst all the rest of the animal kingdom with something very, very special from God, and that's the ability to think in a rational way and make intelligent decisions about what is best to do for ourselves, for our future, for our lives, for those around us. And which leads to number 4, be a better human. Number 5, set up systems for self-discipline, which ties a little bit to what I was talking about, right? The systems, for example, I have systems of morning rituals that I do that help me move in the direction of my goals. I, of course, am working continuously to create better systems at work, to do better in my business. Number 6, it's up to you. And this is like our Black Belt leadership principle, which I already quoted once in this message. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. Because he says, while external circumstances can affect you, in the end, whether or not they control your life depends on you. Just like James Allen said, when you achieve self-mastery, no one and no thing will have the power to enslave you. I love that. Number 7 is so important, right? It says everyone is struggling, and his point is that everyone struggles at something. Nobody is perfect, and nobody has discipline in every area of their life. But wherever the struggle is, my struggle isn't your struggle, yours isn't another's. But the thing to understand is everybody is struggling about something, and that, I think, is such a powerful statement in so many ways. Because one, it makes you realize that you're not alone or special because you have problems. Everybody does. It's what we do about them that makes the difference. Life is 10% what happens, 90% how we react to it. And the things that happen to us happen to all of us. That what matters is the set of the cells. That, of course, was the modern day philosopher Jim Rohn. But what I'm saying is that not only is that true, but also, again, this principle can also add to our empathy, understanding that everybody struggles and everyone is going through something. And then finally, The author said, make the choice today. And, listen, it's the choice to take control of your life. Another great book I recommend is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink that I have up there. And is one of the books that we actually do as a book study here at Krav Maga Martial Arts. And the other choice I will challenge you with is, if you're not already a student member of our tribe listening to this, you can fix that. You can click watch the or read the blog that I put on there, and then you can click where you have an opportunity to go and set up a 2-week free trial and orientation where you come into our dojo. You'll meet Sensei Thomas, my chief instructor, who will do your first intro, give you a tour, answer your questions. And listen, we can help you in all of these things to develop your own self-discipline, to establish your own systems, to create the momentum that will move you towards all of your dominant roles and goals. All right. Well, prepare to live empowered to lead tribe. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Love to hear your comments. Most of all, love to see you here.